It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Scent Blocker,
Killer Food Plots,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Antler Action,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
and Badass Slingshots.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal. I am your host, a little disheveled, wore out
Mike Adams, and
Dan
Wingman
Defoe, who has no
Defoe.
computer.
No computers, but you know it's good to see that Charles Byram computer is keeps freezing. So see, not my fault here.
His computer keeps freezing.
Billy Hoffman says we're looking good.
Yeah,
Is this my good side?
it must just be
Probably.
you though. Like I said, I haven't shaved. I'm looking pretty woolly.
Jason Radecki, sorry you guys had to go back down to the flatland and the ruckus. Yeah, I hear you there, buddy.
So,
All right,
what do you want to talk about tonight?
episode 421.
Yeah, we didn't do a show last week.
No,
You were MIA.
no, I was.
And the person that's supposed to sit in with me had family obligations and couldn't make it over.
Well, you know what?
Big shout out to Jason Sacco from Outdoor Adventures with Jason from Texas. He was on the OPC. He's from Flint area. His parents live up here, and he was up here visiting, and he was going to come over, but he got sidetracked. And I understand how that happens on vacation.
Andy Everheard, my computer / iPhone is working great.
See, it's you, Dan.
No, it's Charles too.
Well,
So yeah, you're so into it. You're two-fisting it tonight.
yeah, I got coffee and I got the
Sweet tea.
the sweet tea that you brought over. So
All right,
what do you want to talk about?
what do we want to talk about? Well,
We've got 2 weeks to catch up on.
did you have a good 4th of July?
I worked.
You covered the fireworks.
Well, actually, no, I did. I take that back. I worked Saturday before the 4th, which is the 1st. Yeah, we did the Bay City fireworks.
How did they go?
Boom.
Without a hitch?
Yeah, they went off. Yep. So got
Good.
that done. On the 4th, actually, I did not have to work, but I took Jacob back down to college.
Oh, okay.
He was home for 5 days and had to go back down to Ohio.
Yeah,
drop
go
him
back
off.
to school.
Yep, drop him off and come back up. So that was all in one day. You know, I don't mind driving 6 hours on the road, but what I don't like doing is driving a road and then turning around an hour later and driving right back in the same direction you just were for another 3 hours, you know?
Well, that's how it goes when you take them to college.
Yeah.
I drove to Chicago, turned around, and came right back.
Yeah, I bet you didn't spend an hour there, though, did you? You probably just opened the door and said, there you go, and I'm out of here.
I don't even think it was an hour.
Yeah, if you like I am, I hate Chicago. No offense to anybody that lives there. It might be listening to the show, but I am not a city boy.
Yeah, not a fan of Chicago. So, all right. So you had a good 4th.
Yeah.
I had a good 4th as well.
Yeah, you've been MIA for about a week and a
I
half.
was in the UP. Had a great time. It was beautiful. We had, I'm trying to think. I don't know if we had one day. Maybe we had one day in the 80s. Although it was 70s. It was chilly in the morning.
Oh, those are the best.
You can sit on the deck with the coffee in the morning. And
Did you have a little fire going in the morning and a campfire?
not right away in the morning. The kids got it going in the morning sometime. And then
You know-
it was fire the whole time.
Even in the summer, when you're out camping, you know, if you're at a campground or you're up north or wherever you're at, you get that cup of coffee. You come out and you're half awake. You stoke the fire from the night before, and it kind of comes back. There's just something sitting by a campfire with a cup of coffee.
Yep, that's right. That's what we did. Me and Deb would get up, go have our coffee, sit on the deck. The kids would get up, and then they would head out. And
Hey, Mara's on. Hey, Mara and Jim Beasley. Mara, we got to get you on the show here one night. And Jim and I got some work to do. But
there you go.
So you had a good 4th up there? Did you see fireworks? Did you guys have fireworks there? Or?
We didn't have any fireworks. The people on the lake do a little pyrotechnic with music. Well, like one guy's a DJ
Okay.
profession, and so one guy's a demolition guy, and he put those two guys together. And
Was there dynamite involved?
I don't think so.
I say, did any fish get killed?
So they had 2 evenings of fireworks, a Saturday and a Sunday night show, I guess.
Okay.
So, but otherwise, yeah, it was peaceful.
So the weather was good.
Weather was good. We had one day of rain, which was Thursday, and I attempted my phone call to you,
Yep. That was
'Cause-
Thursday evening.
and we were getting hit with some big storms. It was pretty cool.
So
Power flickered.
you
Trees down.
you got a new piece of gear at camp.
Yeah, I bought a cell phone booster.
Okay.
So Gabby and I climbed up on the roof, and she helped me put it up there, and it works.
It works. Yeah, you were able to talk to me from
I was
right there at camp.
Able to call you, and all it does is, the hardest part, we were trying to figure out which way to go. It says to point at a tower.
Where's the nearest tower?
Well, that's exactly the question.
80 miles away.
Gabby and I are up at top of the roof, like, okay, so where's the clearest?
And you're up there like,
Yeah, and you know how that goes with trees, right?
Right.
So I was like, okay, I know one town is this way, the other town's this way. So let's point it right in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it worked.
Well, it did, a little bit. So we're like, okay. So I went down to the neighbors and down there talking to him, asking him how he's doing, blah, blah, blah. Gabby notices up on his cell phone, up on his satellite dish pole, he's got a cell phone booster too. Mm-hmm. And we saw which way it was pointing. It was pointing southwest.
Which way were you pointing?
We were pointing northwest.
Okay.
Towards town.
Right.
Or a town. I'm like, all right. She goes, hey, look at that. And I looked at it, I'm like, because it was pointing the same way as the satellites dishes. Mm-hmm. So we went back and we looked. I'm like, yep, we got to spin that 180. Just about 180. Mm-hmm. So we climbed back up there, and it was easy to spin it. So we spun it, and it works even better.
Good deal. Yeah, I can hear you just fine, and before you'd have to go up to the hill.
Oh, I had to go up to the hill.
Make your phone call.
Make my phone call.
So now you cannot escape another podcast.
Well, hopefully.
We can Skype you.
Yes. We'll be able to Skype, and I can just sit right there at the kitchen table and talk to you, and everything will go peacefully.
Yeah, he'll be calling, rubbing things in, saying, yeah, hey, I'm sitting up here and you're back at home.
yeah, probably. And then from there, okay, so we got that done. That's working great. I put out a couple trail cameras, kind of get some things moving.
The ones you had, or did you buy new ones?
No, I had the 2 Cabela's from last year. Okay. Put those out. I let them out for 2 days, and then I went and got the cards, swapped out the cards. Got some bucks on camera, some bears a bear on camera. Looks like a cub. So that's good. The logging project, which was supposed to be done by July 1st, is not even close. They're
too wet.
Oh, I was talking July 4th morning. Mm-hmm. No, 2nd was Sunday. 3rd, I get up and I'm like, that sounds like equipment. It was supposed to be quiet week because I'm up there, but I totally understand how the rain's been going. So I'm like,
Get them in here, get it done.
Plus, they're all done cutting. So they're not cutting, they're just loading.
Right.
So I walk out there, get my cup of coffee with Deb, and she and I walk out there, and there's a truck out there loading the truck, and there's a bulldozer guy. So he comes walking out, and we start talking. And it was just talking with him was just excellent. And
I smell a food plot getting put in.
No, well, that too. But anyways, talking with him, they've had like over 20 inches of rain since Mother's Day.
Wow.
And I can agree with that because the 140 they're having problems getting wood off of looks exactly like it was when I was up there in May.
Okay.
It was like
right after the melt.
Yeah, so he was up there. He was bulldozing. He was basically just punching holes into the ground so water could flow into it. Mm-hmm. And so they were hoping to get going because they were having a dry spell. So July 4th morning, there was another truck out there. July 5th, there was a few trucks out there. They managed to clear off some wood, but for a little pile. And then I still got a big amount on my Northwest 40, and they're discussing on how to attack that because they can't get the truck up there to load, right? Mm-hmm. So what they're planning on doing now is sending the skid steer
and drag them out.
Put them into the other landing so they can at least load them and get them out of there.
Right.
Or else they're not going to be moving for a while.
Right.
Because I walked up there and it was muddy.
Yeah.
To go get a soil sample, and pretty cool thing. We're walking up the trail that they made, and each side is big stacks of wood. We get to the last stack on the right, and all of a sudden I can hear something, and Kelly heard it too. And all of a sudden we kind of peek our head around, and there's a little spike buck feeding away. Just didn't even knew we were there. Was walking away from us, and he cut and came out into the little opening now. So that was kind of cool.
Making their way through, finding their new vegetation spots.
You know what? I tell you what. Every night we saw deer. Every day we saw deer out in the cuttings.
Yeah,
they're there. They're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, if you talk about him punching holes in the ground for the water to drain into, are those going to be natural little retention ponds now for you?
I don't know if he's going to keep them or he's going to fill them back in when he gets done.
I'd almost tell him maybe to leave them.
Yeah,
if
they're
a spot.
they're a little too close to the road. So
Okay.
we did talk about an exit plan on what to do with the cleanup, what they need to have done, clean this up, the new roads that they've cut in. What do I want done with them? Mm-hmm. So we talked that. I've got 2 new roads on my property that I'm going to have basically them earth berm them to a point of about 12 to 15 feet wide, so I can put a gate on each one.
Gotcha.
So then that's going to lead me, my northwest 40 leads me up to the top of the hill and then splits into a Y, which that will make a good food plot. The other one kind of straight into almost like a T.
Okay.
And I'm going to make that a food plot. So I went and did that, measured them out, actually got the sizes of them, so I actually know how big they might be. And then they came back on the 5th, and yeah, they had a couple trucks. They were loading because the trucking company gets paid by the load. Mm-hmm. So they're like,
"Yep,
let's go."
Yep, load it up, let's go.
Yeah. So, but other than that, they still got some work to do. The new finish date is September 1st.
Okay.
Barring any rain.
So getting out of there, hopefully get a little dry weather, get out before bow season.
Right.
Let it quiet down.
Hopefully. But you know what? Mm-hmm. Up there, they're working, and the deer are right there.
Right. Yeah, it really doesn't bother them that much.
It's almost like a dinner bell to them, really.
Right.
I was talking to them, and there was a deer just down from them, just sitting in there. They're hungry. They know they're not gonna get any attention from them guys. So.
Billy, no, that's my dog wanting out of his kennel. He's been fed. He's just old and grumpy like me.
Oh.
I tell you what, we're bumping up here on our first break. Let's take our first break. Come back. I want to hear about the rest of your trip.
Sure.
So we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve cam system, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
All right.
So we're getting the wood out of the woods. I went down another road that they created, and I noticed they had still a lot of piles in the woods. Just got too wet. Mm-hmm. So they got to go back and pull those out. Hopefully that was going to be done this week. Hopefully it doesn't rain.
Right.
So.
Well, did you do any fishing while you're up there?
Oh, of course we did some fishing. Wouldn't be up north if we didn't go fishing.
And
so Deb set out to go after some brook trout, her nemesis, which is on the property. Mm-hmm. And she caught 3. So she caught a nice one. Probably the biggest one. That's probably about 8-inch one.
What are you catching them on?
She was catching those on I think she was using just a fly, a jig.
Okay.
Just a bare jig, I think. Oh, you know what? Take that back. She was using an egg.
Okay.
An egg on a hook.
Okay.
So it was just right underneath the bridge. Mm-hmm. They always hang out there. So she just dunked it in, let it float down.
Hanging out under the shadows.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So she was playing with those. Played with those a couple days. Had fun with those. Headed over to the Michigami Reservoir. And like we said, they've had a lot of rain. Typically, when we go to the reservoir at this time of the year, the dock that they have where you launch your boat usually sits out a good 4 to 5 feet out of the water. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was probably maybe 2. So there was a lot of water in the reservoir still.
Water clear, or you muddied up because of the rains?
No, it's clear.
Okay.
It was just iron, so it's dark. So we headed over there. Saw a bald eagle. That thought was pretty cool. Jumped in the kayaks. My daughter and Gabby went out first. We stayed on shore, fish from shore. They went over to a spot across. It was probably a good quarter-mile paddle to the corner. And so we're sitting there, and I'm just enjoying myself. Oh, there you go. Deb says salmon eggs. That's what it was. So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, here comes Kelly, paddling away. Okay. And Gabby's kind of just behind her. Oh, might want to switch. I don't know. Well, she pulls up and says she's got a fish, and she thinks she's got it through the eye. I'm like, okay. Well, she towed the fish all the way across the lake. I'm like, all right. Well, she didn't have a pliers with her.
Okay.
And she was pretty near tears. I said, hold on. And I see this fish swimming in the water. I'm like, wow. It was a walleye. Mm-hmm. It was pretty close to a keeper. Mm-hmm. I didn't measure it or nothing. So I picked, and what she actually did is she caught it. She lip caught it perfectly just under the eye. She didn't catch the eye or nothing. Mm-hmm. So I fought with it a little bit, and I did spike myself. That hurt. But I got it out, and I set him back in the water, and it took him a few minutes, because after you get dragged across a lake. You're a little tired. So, and then he just kind of slowly swam off. So that was pretty cool. But that's our good fish story, was that one. She dragged a fish across a lake.
And I teased you before you went up about fish dragging you across the lake.
Yeah, well, Kelly dragged it across the lake. So nice. That was pretty funny. So she caught a walleye, and then we went out. We got up early the next day, and we headed out, and it was just glass. I mean, it was a threat of a storm, but it didn't happen. A little bit of rain. We got out there, some sprinkles, but it was glass in the beginning. I ended up catching 2 walleye, just casting.
Nice.
Keepers, if I would have kept them. Caught them on a wacky rig, the first one. The second one, I caught them on just a rubber worm.
Where did you learn that trick at?
I don't know. Some guy from Ohio. Tell you. But that was fun catching those 2, because I was using ultralight, so the rod's just like bending over. And I was getting taken around in a little bit in the kayak. You know how that goes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So other than that, Deb didn't catch anything out on the water. Looks like she's turning into the trout fisherman there.
I bet she would like wade in streams.
Okay, so we had that discussion.
Okay.
So she said it looks like waders are in our future.
Okay.
So hopefully
next spring we need to plan a trip
and go trout fishing.
And I got the places we can go.
Yes, you do. And what that plays into part 2 of that, I said, okay, because Kelly and Gabby, it got warm up there. It wasn't hot, it was warm. So they decided to walk down the stream. So Kelly strapped on the action camera to her leg and went walking down the trout stream with the action camera on. Got some good shots of underwater. It was kind of cool. So then they turned around, they came back. Then I had my meeting with the forester. Talked to him about the exit plan, what we're going to do, what they needed to clean up, what's going to be left. Those trucks, when they're loaded with wood, can mess up a road pretty good. Mm-hmm. I mean,
leaving some ruts.
They left the one day I was there. They pulled out, and I think that was Thursday, and they rutted up the main road pretty good on the side. I'm like, ooh, they better get that fixed. Mm-hmm. But they will. They're a reputable company. It's one thing that, like any business, you better have
insurance or something,
and
a good way to fix it, and all that good stuff.
Because if you get a bad rap, your business is done. Yep. And we do have that, is what you said, insurance. Mm-hmm. We have I guess you want to call it a bond on them, that we're holding back X amount of money from them that says if you don't clean it up to our liking, we keep the money. Right. So, and that's a few $1,000s, so they're not going to want to leave that on the table. Right. So, plus the logging company is... like I said, a reputable company. They've been in business for ages. Matter of fact, my forester used to work for them. So, but then, the last day we were there is when the rain was supposed to show up. It did in the morning. Then it cleared up. It got nice. Then in the evening, when I called you, we had a really bad storm come through. So I had to walk the trail to make sure no trees had come down on the trail. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I walked the property. It looks good. I really like it. He thinned it out in my hardwood section. He went in and he he explained it to me. He improved the quality of tree. He took out all the bent ones. He took out all the bad ones. He took out all the... He says in 5 to 10 years, when we go to harvest a third of that, it'll be quality harvestable wood.
Yeah, it's got room to grow. It's straight. Yep, I got you.
Yep. So I walked through that, and I could tell the canopy had been opened up, and that was kind of nice. I was walking in that 40, and I'm like, okay, I know there's a tree here that's got a tree stand on it. It was a big pine. Mm-hmm. It was probably one of the tallest pines on the 40, but with all the leaves on it, it's hard to see right now. So I'm walking with the kids, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a tree. They're like, okay, way to go. Okay,
yeah. In the middle of the forest looking for a tree.
Right. I said, no, you'll see it, and it's a pine. You'll know it when you see it. Well, I found the stump.
Uh-huh.
And that was kind of funny. I looked. I'm like, I saw the ladder first. I'm like, it's right in this area. I know it. I came up. I looked, and all of a sudden I could see the ladder laying in the ground. It was an old tree stand to begin with. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of glad the tree's gone now. But, I found it. So I'm like, okay, now I know where my bearings are as to where I am at. And then I found, because he marked the boundary of the property, I followed the whole entire boundary. I was able to go tree by tree and just walk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what my next plan is to do next is, if I can, I got to find a program. I'm not sure which one it is that I can do waypoints and do the corners of the property. So,
yeah, you can do that with like Garmin Base Camp.
Right. So
and then you can plot it out on a map.
That's my plan.
Okay.
Then I'll have a true representation of where the actual property is.
Jason said that there's more rain coming this week.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. It's supposed to be hot down here, but I don't know about up there. It just seems like the whole UP's been getting slammed. And
so a good trip?
Oh.
You ready to go back to work?
No.
I didn't think so.
Well, it is what it is. We have to work to
be able to get away.
Yeah. You know what was nice to see? We left Friday morning, and it wasn't too busy. I heard there was a bad accident after we got through Bay City, but it was nice to see when I got up to the gas stations at the bridge. We had to wait in line. It was just packed. The people coming over the bridge, there was a line at the toll booth. The gas stations were all packed.
People were traveling.
It was just good to see whether the biking, trailering, camping. It was good to see just all the people out and about on the move. Mm-hmm.
So, it's been a while since we've seen it rambling like that.
Yeah, it was really good to see. And we were heading up. A couple times we hit the old caravan of trailers. Mm-hmm. You know they're heading up.
Yep.
So, but no, it was a fantastic vacation. The weather was phenomenal. A couple weeks ago it didn't look that good, but now it looks okay. It worked out good. So now we're back, and we get the second half of the year now.
So when you're traveling up like that, you talk about seeing everybody out and about and all that. Do you stop along the way at a restaurant, a favorite spot, get gas or get something to eat?
When I'm traveling like that, depending on how it works, it's usually West Branch, 212, right at the bridge.
North or south side?
North side.
North side.
St. Ignace at the Admiral Station, or Holiday, sorry. And then from there, I can usually make it all the way to Crystal Falls. If not, I'll stop in Escanaba.
Okay.
But usually those are the three stops. Fill up here, then you got West Branch, the bridge, and Crystal Falls. Now you can stagger that if you want to change it up a little bit, but we didn't. Because I was got the trailer, and then I was taking the Ranger with me. So at those stops, I'd also check the straps.
Right.
So I had 2 kayaks with me going up, right? And I put a couple straps on them, and I started my journey, and I kept looking in my mirror, and I wasn't having that good feeling of that kayak because it was kind of waving. I'm like, so I texted the girls. Because we took 2 vehicles. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, you got that extra strap? Nope. So we had to make a stop in Birch Run.
Go to the sporting goods store.
Go to Myers.
Yeah, and get you some straps.
I bought a couple more straps, and I strapped them in, and it's like, okay, now I'm good to go. You just when you're starting, you're looking in, you're going.
I had a strap break on me on the way up.
Did you?
Yeah, I had just checked them. I'm trying to remember where that was at. I checked them there at the 175 rest area.
Okay.
And then I got off the 188 there at Standish, taking 23, and I stopped at the McDonald's for breakfast there in Standish, and it was broke.
Okay.
Just in that 13 miles.
And it snapped.
Yep.
Yep, that's the thing. And I got a 1,300-pound vehicle I'm trailering, 2 kayaks. which you saw how kayaks can become kites real quick on 23, right?
Right.
So I was looking at that. I pulled over, went to the gas station. They didn't have straps. I'm like, hey, we're right here next to Birch Run.
Yep.
Let's get there. Myers is open. It was 7 a.m. So I got some straps, strapped them down. And
Good
I
to
tell
go.
you what, good to go. I just checked them at the bridge. They were good to go. Checked them across. They were fine. So when I came home, I just reversed it, made sure the kayaks I pushed them down into each other, being plastics. So it was good. It was good. It was fun. And you know what? The mosquitoes and the bugs in general were not bad.
I didn't have a big problem with them this weekend either.
I tell you what, I think I was worried because of all the rain. I'm like,
Right.
oh, we're going to get...
Yep.
But I think it was too cool. Because in the mornings when it was... I think there was a couple mornings it was 40s and then 50s. There wasn't a bug to be found until the sun got out and started. Then the fly. It wasn't the deer flies. It wasn't the black flies. It was the regular flies that were annoying. But we just sprayed a little DEET.
Called it all good.
Started a fire. Got some smoke rolling. It was all good.
Now you're back to work.
Now we're back to work. Yes. So, but no, it was a good week had by all, and I can't wait to go back up.
I'll tell you, we're bumping up on our second break here. We'll step outside and
We can talk about your trip.
All right. Well, mine was quick, but we'll step outside and we'll be right back after this.
So what do you do when you've completely redefined the way bows are engineered? When you've reached the pinnacle and the band starts playing your victory song, you start a revolution out of thin air. Introducing the all-new PSE Carbon Air, engineered with true carbon technology to be the lightest high-performance bow in the world. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back to the 7-minute show. Danny's back home from vacation.
I
All is
am.
well.
And like I did tell Deb, because I was running the chainsaw a little bit, there's nothing like good chainsaw therapy.
Yeah, you can cut a lot of stuff up, cut a lot of anger out.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing better than just... And I had a couple trees I had to get off. I had to pull one out of the water because I just threw it in the water in May. Mr. Beaver was up to no good, so I pulled that out. That was a nice birch. That was a straight birch. So I cut it up, cut it into lengths, put it in the in the wood shed, and made it. I thanked him for his donation to the campfire.
Yeah, although it was a nice tree that he cut down.
It was beautiful. But other than that, yeah, you can. There's a lot. And then that was another thing I kind of want to do is every time I'm up there, maybe because all you gotta do is walk like 10 feet, and you've got actually good firewood.
Right.
That they don't use. It's
Right.
So the plan is maybe go up in May, not May, try September. After the project should be completed.
Do some cleanup.
Just how we're going to do some cleanup, and we're not sure. We might have to rent something, or for now, or this year alone, just try to get much of the free firewood that's sitting on the ground out, get it back to camp so we can cut it up.
There you go.
That is one thing, though. When they do their cutting, man, there is just brush everywhere.
It's a mess.
It is a mess.
It's a huge mess. We're still waiting on ours to be finished. They haven't got back in to finish ours yet, so waiting on everything to dry up. Still a lot of water.
I hear you. I hear you about that. And we're looking to get the property put into the forestry program.
Okay.
We got to have that paperwork in by September 1.
Get it done, man. It's well worth it.
Well, if you're going to save 40% on your taxes.
Bingo.
Yeah, I think.
Winner, chicken dinner.
You got it. So I sent him the information I needed to send him. He's got to write the plan up. He already knows the land, so
He's already started the project.
right.
Right.
So then all we got to do is fill out the form and see if we get approved.
There you go. Well, I'm sure you will.
I think so too. They like people when they get into that program.
Yep. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah. So, but then you headed up north.
Yeah, it was a trip that I did not want to make. I don't think I've ever said that.
But you had to.
Didn't have to, but needed to. It was a work weekend. We got one of the guys at camp got he drew a bear tag.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, well, we need to get everything done before they start getting up there and getting their stuff set up. So, I have respect for
which bear season is he going to hunt?
Third week of September, I believe.
Okay. All right. Yep.
So I wanted to get everything out of there and get it done. And if you remember that one ground blind that I've got up there that had the tarp on it because the roof, the shingles or the roll roofing blew off.
Yep.
That was my task. So,
well, you also fertilized.
Yeah, that was another task. I had about 3 or 4 things I really wanted to do, and I really got them all done, but one thing, and it's not a major deal.
Oh, good.
But I figured out why I quit roofing about 8-9 years ago.
Oh, you had flashbacks, huh?
Yeah, well, I had to put the roof on. on the.
You got a little what are they? PTSD roofing?
Yeah, well, my body did.
Oh.
Yeah, it was, my knee, I blew my knee again. That problem I've got on the side of my knee, that all swelled up like a size of a tennis ball. My back's all out of kilter, and I figured this is why I quit. But we got the roof put on. We had to put boards on, got that all done, put the shingles on, got everything hauled away, cleaned up. Had some trim work I had to do, put some pieces of trim on. I did that today and painted and camouflaged it. So I made the stop at Home Depot for my Oops paint.
Yep.
The $8-9 a gallon stuff that I'm like, okay, you've got about 10 of them here. Okay, there's a green one and there's a light brown one. That'll do.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So, so I got that and got it all done up. That blind is all set and ready now. It's all been tidied up and cleaned up and
all
fixed.
Right.
So, and did a little weed whipping around it and cleaned that up and made my trail so that way I can walk into it quietly and get back out. But the other thing was I talked to Nick Percy from Killer Food Plots, and he's like, okay, we're getting to that time of year. When do you want me to fertilize? So we kind of ran through the whole procedure, and he said, you need to get urea 4600. I'm like, okay,
that's easy, right?
Straight nitrogen's pretty much is what it is, and you couldn't find it anywhere. Not here in town. I mean, and I got to thinking, I go, okay, who else uses nitrogen? Oh, farmers do.
Yes,
okay,
they do.
So I got on Google where to find urea in Michigan or buy urea in Michigan, and the first place that came up on the Google search was Standish Milling Company in Standish, and that's right on the way. And I'm like, called them up. They've got it. Okay, they're open till noon. It's 9 in the morning. Good. I said I'll be there in a matter of a few minutes. No big deal. And went up there and picked up that. Got breakfast.
They had no problems getting it to you.
No. Got on the road and made my way. But Nick warned me about something. He said, you need to make sure you have the proper clothing when you apply this stuff. Because I was using a hand spreader.
Okay, yep.
And he said, if you do not have everything covered, that stuff will burn you. You get a chemical burn from it. And he said, because you're going to be hot, you're going to be sweaty. He said, as soon as it hits your sweat, it's going to start to liquefy. And he said, it's going to burn. He says, I know from experience.
He's lived it.
Yep. He said he had a couple of granules of that go down his shorts.
Oh.
Down his backside. So, but, wore these sweatpants, boots, socks, took the sweatpants over top of the boot, had a T-shirt on, tucked that inside my sweatpants, put on a long sleeve shirt over top of everything so it couldn't get down inside, and then gloves, and then pulled the sleeves down tight over the gloves. It all worked.
This would be a good use for a Tyvek suit.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would work. But it's nasty stuff.
I guess so. If it produces chemical burns, it's nasty stuff.
Yeah. Well, we used to use it when we were roofing houses. Speaking of roofing, in the winter we'd break ice dams with it. We'd take it and put it in a little cup and toss it on.
Oh.
And you could hear it starting to crack and pop the ice immediately.
That stuff does wonders on ice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I got the Border Patrol all fertilized. Got that all done, and
was that you were after to fertilize the Border Patrol only?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Did you do the rest of the field?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he said just let that go right now. The buckwheat's 4 foot tall easily. It's phenomenal. The amount of water we've had up there, the deer can't keep up with the field. I got the growth cage up, and the growth cage is not much higher than the field.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean, everything is green. It's growing like crazy. The Border Patrol in some places is up to 4 foot high already. You know, if you take the leaf and hold it up, yeah, it's 4 foot in a lot of places. You know?
Just think that's going to get to 7, 8, 9 feet here.
Yeah.
In a couple of months.
Well, he said you put this nitrogen on it. He said that you'll almost hear it growing. So, and the thing that was great, you know, I put that out, and then we got rain that night. So, you know, started breaking it down, getting it in the soil where it needed to be.
You woke to the sounds of grass growing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
But you know, that's one of the things, you know, like that stuff, knowing, you know, being forewarned. That's why having Nick as a resource is just, you know, he's lived it.
Yeah,
pretty much.
We're gonna have him on the show here. Hopefully by the end of the month, he wants to come on and start talking about
because it's
food
like
plot season.
Exactly what you're talking about. It's going to be about that time, thinking fall food plots.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, you know, you're thinking fall food plots. Yeah. End of this month, we're gonna have Nick Percy on. Go over that. Talk with him. He did some hunting. I think we're gonna talk to him about as well.
Yeah, bear hunt up in I believe it might have been Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Find out how that went.
But yeah, I got everything pretty much done. Pulled my trail cam photos. Not really excited about what I'm seeing. Not seeing any shooter bucks at all so far. Not a one. I've seen a couple scrub bucks.
Now, typically, have you seen something at this point in time?
Oh yeah.
But you haven't.
Yeah, I've got pictures from 2 or 3 years ago of 3 bucks that were just phenomenal. You know, they had already had a lot of bone growth already. I mean, you could tell they were going to be shooter bucks. But I didn't see. There might have been one that may have been a 2.5-year-old, but I just don't think so. I think they're
it's going to be a good year for you.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
See, think about that. The years that you didn't get nothing.
Yeah, but
now you're not seeing it.
We didn't see any last year on camera either, though.
Right.
Night Train showed up late in the season. So one thing that did concern me, I still saw some does that were into late June, middle of June, that were still pregnant. So that was second rut fawn drops. And the only saving grace that might come of that this year is I only picked up one fawn on trail cam. We found a lot of fawns already that have been hit by predators. You know, what little bit was left. Seen a lot of coyotes on camera. Seen bobcat on camera. Seen a few bears on camera.
All the fun predators of the area.
Yeah, and you know, bobcats are controlled by how many you can take. You know, with that regulation here in Michigan, and bears the same way.
Right.
You know, the only thing we can smack are the coyotes. So I don't know, man. It's going
to be an interesting year as we head into the fall season because. You know, it's always you get that build up. I got that bear on camera myself. We did see overall for the week, we did see a lot of fawns, a lot of fawn prints. So that was a plus. Like you said, we had this doe come in, really black face. She was just huge, and I thought she was literally pregnant. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. Well, she showed up on camera and she's got 2 fawns with her. She's just that big.
She's just big fawn.
I was like,
or deer, just big doe.
So, but. No, it just...
Yeah, we got a lot of little deer up there. A lot of young deer. But last year we had a lot of fawns.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fawns. But the ones I'm seeing that's got me concerned, there's some that they look like fawns do in September normally, but we're seeing them now on trail camera. They're not this year's fawns, obviously. They're probably like a third rut.
Right.
You know, a third breeding cycle drop, you know, and they made it through the winter. But man, they're little. They're little deer.
They're almost like short deer.
Yeah, they're runts.
Yeah,
runts of the litter.
They're we got at my house. We got 2 that are kind of like that, but I don't think they were that late of a. They're just like runts. It's like you can tell who they are. It's like but it'll be interesting. You're not seeing them now, but you think that's because of the forestry project, or you think maybe
I think it's a predation. A lot of it's predation. I don't think it's really the forestry project because, you know, typically when we're cutting, like you said, deer coming in, they're feeding. It doesn't bother them that much. You know, could it be, you know, human presence? I don't know. I can't lay my finger on it. So,
well, you got the cameras out, so hopefully as we get into we'll have the peak of the summer here in July, August. Yeah. And then we'll switch it over, and I think you'll see a change.
I hope in September we're starting to see some stuff that's going to, you know, pique my curiosity. I need to move some cameras around once once I kind of figure out where they're running, and maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to take some cameras because I'm really concentrating cameras in 2 areas.
Right.
I got 3 areas really. I've got 2 of them pretty tight together in one spot up on the Oak Ridge, and then I got 4 cameras together down on the field, just because we're trying to see how this field is growing.
Oh, okay.
And watching that and what's going on in the field. So,
speaking of, you just said Oak Ridge, but did you talk about having plans of fertilizing the oaks?
yes, we were, but we're not going to now because of the oak wilt.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to waste. I'm not going to waste the money on it.
I talked to my forester, and I asked him, said, do we have oak wilt in the area? He says, yes, we have it here. So I'm like, oh, okay. So
Something to keep an eye on.
Yep, exactly.
They're not going to do anything with ours until after the season, the growing season, which would be late, probably. I don't know if it's going to be in August or September, maybe even after deer season. And the reason being is the red oaks, once you cut a live red oak tree, even if it's got disease, but once you cut it, it's going to stump sprout.
Yes.
So we're trying to wait till that growing season's done and then cut them and then put the herbicide on them and kill them.
I tell you what, that was one good thing I did see. I could the stumps that I seen some stumps that they had new. It was already probably a foot tall on some of them, regrowing. So
was that on your popple or is that
both? It was on
maples. And
maples were
oaks.
There was an area. There was an area there that just had maples everywhere, which was kind of cool. It's like, wow. The popples, Brock said, you cut one popple, you get like 1,000, 1,500 sprouts from that one.
Wow.
And he says, don't be surprised if on average now you'll see after this year you'll see probably about 3 feet of growth a year.
Okay.
I'm like, all right,
Nice.
yeah. So
That'll take.
but I think your area now this is going to be interesting because you're going to have a bear hunter there, and you're going to be knowing where he's at. So I wonder if that presence is going to kind of get the deer to move a little bit for you to get them on the trail cameras.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think so. I think just right now, because like in my backyard, I got deer that it's hot. They're just laying down. It's just they come in, they lay down. They don't go far away. They just the flies are bad for them. But other than that, they're not traveling if they don't have to. Even though they got this.
I didn't see a lot. I didn't see a lot of deer movement. But then again, I was only in one spot. I was working on the blind, and I worked on the blind all day Saturday. I got there at 11:30, and I was working from 11:30 till probably 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Right.
So it. I wasn't out. Obviously, with all that beating and banging and all that kind of stuff going on, there was not going to be any deer nearby. So
I don't know. Sometimes when you're beating and banging, it's
curiosity.
Oh yeah.
But in the back of my mind, though, I kept thinking, I hope a bear doesn't show up.
I always think about that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
When I go behind, when I'm out there, and it's like, because in some spots you got the tall ferns.
Yeah.
And we got those tall ferns now in the new cut area, right? And I'm like, man, just please don't let me walk up on one.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, and it was windy, which was nice because the bugs weren't around, right?
Right.
And you're walking through ferns that are up to here, and you're like, because I did it once in my life, and I don't want to go back there again. That you walk up, and all of a sudden the bush starts moving, all of a sudden a bear scoots out of it, and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, right.
So, but, so you got everything done.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't get done is I didn't get to take the weed whip to my honey hole. I was going to cut that all down, but I didn't get a chance to do that.
Okay.
But that's not a big deal.
Right, that was the last on the list, right?
Yeah, so, today I got up and painted and put the trim on and bolted. Put some batteries and some trail cameras and got out of there. Hit the road home and fought the traffic all the way back.
Oh, how was the traffic coming
It was horrible. I actually got off at the 169 exit and backtracked all the way down to Saginaw and then caught 13 the rest of the way home.
Did you really?
It was stop and go. It took me a half hour to get from like the 188 down to about the 175, 171. Yeah, it was horrible. So stop and go. So I said, nah, I've had enough.
Right.
So yeah, I know the back roads enough to where I can get around.
Well, that's the thing, is especially when you come into the flatlands there.
Yeah.
And everybody just decides to hit the brakes. And then we got the construction. Then it's like, really?
All right, I'll tell you what.
Charles Barnum says, my trail cam photos are sucking also. So even in Iowa, the trail cams.
He's having PC problems and phone problems and trail cam photo problems.
Yeah.
I did have a couple cameras that were flaky on me. I had one that actually the batteries were dead, and then I had another one that kind of surprised me. But I had that on time lapse, and I haven't looked at the time lapse yet.
Oh, okay.
So I have a feeling because it's taking so many photos,
Right.
it's just burning it. But I put fresh batteries in that one, recharge them, and then I had another one that had a bad chip in it. I got all the pictures off of it, but when I put it back in, it wouldn't load, and I had to reformat it and then put it in. So a couple little hiccups here and there. So
Charles says, having been seeing fawns, luckily, but my buck count is way down. Putting in a food plot, hope it will help the herd. Hope the weather cools down so I can get after the dogs soon.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm hoping for too, man. Get things cooled off up there, and start hoping to see a few shooter bucks and get a plan together. I mean, it's still the middle of July, so I mean, maybe I'm just worrying too much right now. I don't know. But
I to me, it's we know they're in the area. Mm-hmm. It's just they have to walk in front of a camera,
right,
as opposed to walking in front of a field. You see them at the other end or something like that.
Right.
It's just. I think that's what it is right now. And plus, it's July.
One thing I did find interesting was I got one camera in the oaks, and it's I've got a couple cameras in the oaks, but deer were feeding around this one particular tree, and I got to go back and look at the tree to see what type of oak it is, see if it's a different type of oak. But every other photo that I had, they would come up off the oak ridge off the road and then down to this tree, and they'd circle this tree and they'd feed around it. Like they were looking for acorns. But see, their acorns are not dropping right now. But it's really odd. I don't know what it was that they were looking for, but maybe they're looking for last year's acorn drop. But I just wonder if that's got a sweeter tasting acorn off that tree.
I want to say a white oak.
Could be.
I think I talked to Brock about this. Matter of fact, we just talked about this too. A bur oak, a white oak. I think he said white oak. We'll have to have him on the show. We can run these questions by him. But he said they will do that. Mm-hmm. They prefer that acorn because it's sweeter to them.
Yeah. Now, I know we've got some, I think they're white oaks down on our lower road, and they drop pretty quick. They drop usually around the middle of September, and they're just little tiny. I mean, just no bigger than the end of your finger. The acorns are real small.
Oh, okay.
But, man, they go in there and they just feast on them. I mean, it looks like a cattle have been in there.
Oh, yeah, around the base of the outside of the tree.
Yeah. So,
they really like those.
I think that could be what it is, but it just, to me, it seemed odd that they were looking for acorns already. We've got clover. Speaking of clover, we got clover leaves, petals on our clover this big around already, size of quarters.
I tell you've been having some serious good water.
It's the best clover we've ever had, and it's mammoth red clover. We planted in with that rootstock rye,
right?
And you look down between the rows of where we planted it. And that rye, that rye is up a good, 3-4 foot, and it's protecting that clover. So the deer has to work and get his nose down in there to find it. But man, it's just phenomenal.
It's thick, huh?
It is. Yeah, it's thick and lush.
If you've watched the weather, you've had pretty good rain.
Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of rain.
We haven't had no quote dry times to slow it down.
Right.
Yeah, it's just been growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
And here we coming into July and August when you typically think, but in August if it gets muggy out, you just got the moisture from the air itself, which is nice.
Yep.
So we just got to worry about July. And I don't think it's going to be that dry.
We're halfway through it already. I'll tell you what, we're bumping up here on our last break of the show. We come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some archery stuff we've got going on here. So we're going to step outside and we'll be right back after this.
I shoot PSE because I like one pin to 40 yards.
I shoot PSE for the perfect combination of feel and performance.
I shoot PSE because you can shoot lighter poundage and increase arrow speed.
I shoot PSE for the fastest bows on the planet. I shoot PSE because my livelihood depends on my bow.
I shoot PSE because better engineering makes a better bow.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE. I shoot PSE.
Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Hey, last segment of the show, and we just got a comment here in the break.
Several comments with autocorrect.
Yeah. We were talking about the white oaks.
Yes.
And Jason Radecki made a comment.
Yeah, and he says that the people up by him, because he's in Luzerne, say that the acorns seem to produce like every 3 years. Every 3 years they produce a bumper crop. So you get, low, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Another tree that does that's cyclical within 2 or 3 years is a black walnut tree. The one I got in my backyard.
Oh, okay.
Back when I was trapping, that was 3 or 4 years there. We would use the black walnut and we'd boil them.
Oh yeah,
and dye our traps. But we'd get a bumper crop and I'd gather them all up and put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them. That way I'd have trap dye for the next year, because the next year the tree wouldn't produce.
Okay.
So trees, there are trees that produce their fruit or nuts every other year, every third year.
Right. They do a little bit, then they have a bumper crop and a little...
Actually, our black walnut tree won't even produce after they drop their big crop of them. The next year, there's nothing. This year, we've got just a little bit.
Okay.
So last year, it didn't produce last year. The year before is when we had the bumper crop.
Okay, so probably next year, you'll probably run into a bumper crop.
Yep. Our dogs, they would love to get them and chew on them, and they come in, they'd have black all around their fur, on their muzzle from eating those things, man.
You gotta love dogs.
Trying to crack the nut inside, which they couldn't do, but
you're right.
But yeah, we use the tannins in that husk. We boil it out, and the water turns like just a black, nasty. If you get that stuff on you, if you're dipping traps and you get it on your hand, that tannin will not come out for 2 or 3 weeks.
Really?
Oh, it's nasty.
I remember you doing that. I think you did some video of that. Maybe you did, or maybe we were just talking about it. But yeah, so you just boil it out, huh?
Yeah. You just throw them all in.
All in.
Yeah. Or you can take and crush them. You can take a hammer and crush the husk off of them, and then just freeze the husks. So that way you don't have the nut inside the shell. It's super hard.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
cool.
Yep.
So then you got back here, and now we're doing the show.
Yeah, back home.
There you go.
Ready for another week. Ready for next weekend.
Ready for another week of you've been shooting the bow. How's it going? You've been doing a little video diary of how it's going. Yeah, I've been shooting the Evolve. Man, I love that bow. And I say that every year. The last 3 bows I've had from PSE are just, they're freaking lights out. Just, the DNA, the Decree, and now the Evolve. It's just, I could put any of those 3 in my hand right now and go out and hunt and feel confident. Agreed. It's, I can't say enough. And actually, I'm shooting it with 80% let off. I got to take it over to Jim, and I'm going to have him probably back it off. Or maybe next weekend when we see Dan Yasa at the Toledo shoot, I may have him back it down to 90. Right. After the shoot. Because I've been practicing at 80. Yes, and so it's just one of those things. I tell you what, I was shooting. I'll probably shoot again. I didn't take it up north with me because I had a little bit of space issues. Not enough space to take it. Right. I was like, wow, we're really packed here. I would have taken mine, but I didn't have enough time to shoot. Yeah, you didn't have enough time. You were working till 8:30 at night. So yeah, and it's one of them deals. It's you rush, but this week I'm going to spend some time and step back to. I shot 20, 30, 40. I'm going to step back to 50 this week. That G5 sight that I got, that older one, it's got the tape mark on it for the floater. I'm going to mark a 50 and a 60 because, as you told me before the show, it's supposed, from what I understand, and we'll talk with Dan this week, up to unknown distances up to 60. Yeah, great. Flinging arrows. Yeah. So that's what we do best. It sounds like I better take a quiver full. Definitely take a quiver full. Yeah, so Saturday's is unknown distance, and then Sunday is known distance. Right. And we're just shooting Saturday, so great. Yeah, well, it'll be fun. Good to see Dan and talk with him, and hang out with him. And he was up in Lansing, I think, this weekend. Yeah, they just opened another archery store somewhere. I think grand opening. So I seen he posting some photos. Speaking of grand openings,
Yeah, we're T-minus 3 weeks now.
4 weeks, I think.
4 weeks.
No.
What's the day? 10th, 11th.
Yeah.
Be 3 weeks from this Thursday, right?
3 weeks from this Thursday, and the weekend we'll be there.
Chesterfield, Michigan for the new Cabela store. So can't wait for that, man. That's going to be an action-packed week.
Yeah, I hope so.
Be crazy fun.
It will be. That'll be a fun time at a new store.
Yep. I want to talk to you a little bit and pick your brain about this thumb release you're using.
Okay.
Because what I've noticed, and I alluded to it in one of my videos that I'd been videotaping or even live streamed a couple of times shooting in the backyard, how things were progressing or digressing, and I noticed with my release, there's just...
Now, you're using a trigger release, right?
I'm using a standard trigger release.
Okay.
And it's just something about it, the tension on it is just... Sometimes I have a little play in it, and I think I have a tendency to over-pull. And
punch the trigger?
I think I'm doing some trigger punching with it. And I'm just wondering with a thumb release, if you got a little more control with that.
I'll have to bring it over next week.
Okay.
And let you mess with it. Because one of the main reasons I switched, just because of that trigger, I felt myself punching the trigger. It's like I couldn't get out of it. I was like...
Slapping it.
Yeah.
Grabbing it, slapping at it.
So then I said, all right, let's, instead of pulling the trigger, let me push the trigger.
Yeah.
So I've been learning to push, and maybe that it could
Are you
be.
shooting any more consistent?
I'm about the same.
Okay.
So
does it take that out of your head, though?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does definitely. It's there. It's my thumb now, and I'm pushing. I'm not.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I wanted to change, to get one of those things out of my head. And if we were shooting with Dan, he'll probably tell us a whole bunch of different things, and we'll
I'll be all messed up.
Yeah, I know. Because he showed you some releases when we were at the Lansing show. Remember, he went through and he showed.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't there,
Yep.
but he showed you, and I was just like, so,
yeah. There's all kinds. There's 50 million different kinds of releases you can use. The back tension release, which I don't think I could hunt with. I think that's more for target shooters.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But the thumb release.
But this is a push thumb one that I don't feel like I'm punching the trigger, and I'm more. I got it locked underneath my jaw, and I'm just pushing it.
Yeah, I'm almost trying one of them or just upgrading to a better release.
It's one of the. It depends on you. You'd have to actually go try it.
Yeah, that's what I'm just going to have to go shoot.
You will. Go over to Jim's, see what he's got, and try it there. And it might be that. It might be the release. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can go and mess with the tension on it and either back it out.
No, the ones I got, they're not that expensive. And that's probably half the battle, truthfully.
Well, you want to talk, releases can go anywhere.
Right. So, but that's kind of the things I've been dealing with.
How's the arrow shooting? How's those Renegades?
Actually, I'm not shooting. I haven't shot the Renegades yet. I've been shooting the Zombie Slayers.
Oh, that's right. You're shooting the zombies.
I want to get dialed in with that. I figured after we get this shoot done this Saturday, then I'll start playing around with arrows a little bit as well. But the one thing, doing the video and posting, one of the guys out of Oakland County, Jim Jacques, he noticed that, because I shoot either with a complete open hand, or I'll touch when I won't grip the grip, but I'll bring my index finger and my middle finger around and just close it and touch the tip of my thumb.
Okay.
And he says when I'm shooting open-handed, he noticed as I'm executing a shot, my hand's already gripping, feeling for the grip and the drop of the bow. It's just that
your
involuntary reflex.
You're anticipating the drop of the bow.
And he says as I'm doing that might, because I was having a problem. I was shooting left, and I kept trying to bring things back, bring it back, and it took me a little while. But I was within an inch of the bull, mostly left. My up and down, that depends on eyesight. And I'll get into that in a minute. But no, my left to right. And he said just touch them together. He said if you can concentrate on that and keep them closed and see where you're shooting. And I'd be John Brown if that didn't bring it back. I started doing that, and I'm shooting just a little to the right, so I need to make that adjust. What I did is I kept adjusting for it and brought it too far, and I was kind of bouncing back and forth.
Right.
But I did that, and I shot 3 rounds, and they're all shooting pretty consistent.
That's one of my biggest flaws that I have is I'll shoot 2 good arrows, and then the third arrow is like...
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, That just bugs me. I anticipate. I know what I'm doing. It's like, that's why I already know I'm dropping the bow, and it's like, stop that.
Oh, as soon as you execute the shot, you know.
Yeah.
You know if it's in there or not.
Right.
And the one thing, when I very first started this, setting that bow up, I was struggling for target acquisition at 20 yards. It's just when I'm looking through the peep and grabbing the pin and putting it on the target was blurry. But it wasn't so blurry that I couldn't see it. It was fuzzy. I'm like, man, I said, I wonder if I need to shoot with my glasses. And I've always I never wanted to shoot with glasses because when I turn and I lock in, your head's turned again, and you're looking down that string and through the peep sight, and I can see the silver in the frame, and it got in the way. So I had to keep making sure I had my glasses pushed back on my face as tight as I could get them because I got small frames. And that's what it was. As soon as I put them on, I'm like, bang, hallelujah, I can see.
Let me tell you from experience about a guy that I'll probably have to get glasses again, but I did have glasses, had my eyes fixed. But I had a 1/2 inch thick glasses on the edges. Okay. And when I first started shooting my bow and I would tilt,
you were looking through the edge?
My glasses got so distorted, I had to learn to face shoot kind of almost straight on to learn to face. So it'll be interesting when I get glasses again, how I'll attack that problem.
Well, I'm due for some new glasses, and I think I'm going to look for some either dark frames or, I don't know, maybe they make a camouflage set. I don't know.
They do make camouflage ones.
So, I mean, I'm going to get something because I don't want anything that's going to shine. The ones I've got now are silver wire frames.
Right.
I want something with just a little bit bigger lens so I can, when I do turn, I'm not catching that edge.
Do you have any problem seeing up close?
Oh, yeah, I got glasses for that, too.
I was going to say, because you might end up with...
bifocals?
Yeah.
Well, I've got bifocals for work.
Okay.
And then I've got the ones, my long-distance ones are for night driving and stigmatism. So,
okay, yeah.
But, yeah, those work at 20 yards and out. That's what I got.
Yeah, stay tuned because, they definitely can have an effect and how you adjust to that. Yeah, totally agreed. I think I'm going to go with dark frames. If I probably will need glasses. Yeah. So I'm going to go with... and I keep thinking of the guy in Major League, the guy with the glasses.
Oh, Sheen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild thing.
That's what mine looked like I use at work.
But it's like, I'm going to go with dark frames. They do make camouflage because Randy Duncan has them.
Oh, that's right.
He's got the woodland camo ones.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, we'll have to see when we all get new glasses.
No pun intended.
Fun getting old, right?
Have to see.
Well, we'll have to see.
Well, those are just some of the things I'm struggling with as I'm shooting. So
I hear you.
It's
the struggle's real.
Yeah, it is.
Especially when you're getting out 40. I mean, that target, and then if it's a little dark and it's like, oh my gosh.
Well, my pen covers up the dot at 40. And it's and then trying to hold on the shot and then getting target panic. That's part of the problem. I've noticed I shoot better when I pull up. I get in my anchor and then I grab the target and then bang, I pull the trigger instead of trying to wait for it to float and steady down because you just can't do it.
We're doing a show here, and Charles Barham says, "Have a great night, all. Running out of daylight, off to do the daily scout.
Must be nice."
Yeah. Anyways, what I'm learning to do, I think I'm trying not so much to stay on target. I'm learning to. I think I do better when I acquire my target and just let it go.
Yep.
Not just, okay, I'm on target, I'm waiting.
Then you get target panic.
Then it's like, nope. I think I do better when I pull the bow back, I get it up, and I look. As soon as I find it, I get where I want that arrow to go, and I let it go.
Yep.
When I start thinking about it,
yep.
Here we go.
Making donuts.
Yeah, it's like,
drawing circles.
Yep. So, nope. It's just things that us amateurs live with.
That's why we don't shoot professionally.
No, we don't. We have reasons for that.
Right. So, well, that's all I got this week, man.
You know what? It's been a great, we were off last week, a great 2 weeks. We're going to get going here come August. It's going to start to get busy.
What do you mean start?
Well, it's not busy right now, but it will start. But then, you know what? We're going to see if we can't get ourselves out in the woods more this year.
I've got 1 weekend off between now and Labor Day.
Yeah. So
1 weekend.
Yep.
1 full weekend, put it that way.
Right. So, but nothing starts till September 15th or September 1st.
That's true. Deer season's every day, man. What are you talking about?
That's true.
But you tell Miss DeFaw that if she'd like to go trout fishing we'll take her stream wading, but I'm still waiting on that trip down the Shiawassee on that guided trip on the kayak and a shore lunch.
Oh, yeah. Have to remind her of that.
We'll get out. We'll get out one day, definitely. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for us this week, folks. We'll be back again next week.
Yes, we will. We'll be back next week.
Talking about our shoot down in Toledo.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. Don't forget our other shows over on the Outdoor Podcast channel. Go check those out as well. You can find our show there. And Dan's going to repost the live stream on Wednesday.
Usually okay. I'm getting there.
All right. So that'll do it for us. Easy for me to see. That'll do it for us this week, folks. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Scent Blocker,
Killer Food Plots,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Antler Action,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
and Badass Slingshots.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.